Hey Joe, my name's Michael and I'm interested in real estate investing. What are some strategies for getting started in the real estate market? Well, Michael, this is an amazing question. Me and my wife actually invest in real estate, so I can give you a little bit of advice here. The first step in this that I always advise is to ensure that any of the debt you currently have, that you're not paying over 8%. Is a good marker, 8 to 10%, especially credit cards. I would make sure that you get that debt paid down or paid off first before you start even thinking about investing in anything. Because if you're paying higher interest rates on credit cards or on debt than the income that you're going to get or the rate of return on your investments, then it kind of defeats the purpose. So paying off those debts first before you even think about real estate investing. But as far as strategies, it really depends on the person. Something that I'm highly interested in and kind of a strategy we've been using currently is buying properties on Subject 2. Because I'm a business owner, I'm being able to acquire a lot of properties by putting the loans in my name. You get to a point where typically you're going to cap out at about 10 loans. And it kind of exposes you in certain ways, especially on the amount of debt you have. If something happens, you're at a lot of risk. Subject 2 is being able to take over people's payments. Loan stays in that client's name. There's a lot of situations, especially right now in the economy, where clients want to, or people want to get out of their current situation where they can't afford the loan. They bought when interest rates were so low, but now they're in a financial situation where they need to get rid of the property and they don't know the best way to do it, or maybe they're underwater, or maybe there's some arrears. There's a lot of situations where you can take over a property, literally no money down or a very small minimum down payment, and you take over the payment, deed goes into your name, so you take ownership of that property. That's a really cool strategy that we've started to utilize that we really, really love. But there's so many different ways that you can kind of get into real estate. Just depends on what your intentions are. You know, if you're capital heavy and you want to utilize your money to be just kind of a sole investor, and you want to find somebody that will do all the legwork for you and kind of the boots on the ground per se, you could do that. But investing is amazing. Real estate is a really good way to get a good, decent return if you do it correctly. I highly recommend you find somebody that can kind of mentor you if you're new to real estate, because you can easily make decisions that can be big issues, especially if you're limited on capital and you're buying your first property and maybe you didn't evaluate the property correctly, or you didn't factor in some of the costs that you thought you had factored in. And it ends up being a non-cash flow property, because the goal with real estate is obviously to cash flow these properties, but also to have a rate of return that you set. Typically over 10% is a good way to start, but you have to know what you're doing, because again, you can buy a property that you think is going to cash flow and then you don't realize there's a couple costs that are involved that can really put you in a bad situation where you're not making any money. So just some food for thought there. There's a lot of ways to do it. I'd be happy to give you some advice on kind of just more information on this. Just feel free to send me a message or DM me. But real estate investing is an amazing way to go. But make sure you pay off any high interest loans or debt first before you get into investing in real estate.